Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Million Dollar Body Podcast, the intersection of financial and physical success. I'm Nate Palmer. If you're here, it's probably because you're a high performer, entrepreneur, or business owner that's interested in maximizing your physique, your finances, and your family time using fitness and nutrition as force multipliers in your life. If you're not already a part of the Facebook group, the Million Dollar Body Community, definitely go to n8trainingsystems.com/group to join. Or if you're watching this live on my Facebook profile today, very excited for you. You can just simply click the link above me on the banner. There's a ton of cool stuff happening in the group though. So even if you're not a member, you're gonna want to check it out because there's a massive amount of free content. I'm releasing a case study that I just did tomorrow or Thursday. So you're gonna want to check that out. So go to the link n8trainingsystems.com/group to join us there. If you're watching this live, I'm excited to have you because today we're gonna be talking about fat loss workouts and how fat loss workouts and the fat burning zone are a bunch of bullshit that you can stop believing right now. And I'm going to tell you the exact 3 things that you need to be doing instead of that. So I'm really excited to dive in. I love talking about like fitness myths and kind of busting them, but I also want to make sure that you have tons of actual knowledge that you can go off of. You can hear me. Maybe this is better. I want you to have like enough knowledge that you can go off of, that you can actually start making some great decisions in your own training and stop doing things that maybe are not serving you at a high level. So before we get started, one of the things we like to do is give a shout out to the people accomplishing big things in the Million Dollar Body community. I want to give a shout out right now to Dave. Dave has been absolutely crushing it. He has dropped about 17 pounds in the last 2.5 months. And a lot of it is coming from fat because he's actually gaining muscle at the same time. And this is kind of hard to do, is doing a recomp. So actually dropping fat while gaining muscle means a couple of things. Number one, he's doing an awesome job prioritizing protein. Number two, he's been very consistent with his workouts and he puts a ton of effort into it. Number three, he's been getting progressively stronger over time. So especially if you're brand new to training or have taken some time off, this is a perfect time to do a recomp. You've been training for a really long time. You've been in it, you're intermediate or advanced, it's tougher to do this. But if you're just beginning and you want to actually recomp your body instead of just dropping pounds, let me know and I can definitely help you out with this because it's something so rewarding about seeing the weight come off, but actually maintaining or gaining muscle so you feel as good as you look. So congrats, Dave, you're killing it. So let's jump right into this. And I'm just gonna say right now, you've been lied to. Fitness magazines, blogs, Gwyneth Paltrow, Tracy Anderson, all these fitness gurus who talk so much about fat burning and fat loss, but don't have a understanding of the biochemical reactions within your body, how your body creates muscles or builds things. So there's no wonder that it's so confusing to come up with a program, find the right systems in place. Okay. And I want to give you the tools to do that today. So, but first I want to define a few words. And I know you're thinking, you're like, great, I came to this because I wanted to know some definitions. No. So I'll try to keep it fun and interesting, but I want to talk about a couple of words that I think get bandied about without people really knowing what they mean. Okay. So the first one is tone. Everyone talks about how do I tone my muscle? Okay. I don't want to get bulky muscles. I want to get nice toned muscles. The other thing that's kind of in that same vein is I want to get lean muscles. I want to get long, lean muscles. I don't want to have big, bulky bodybuilder muscles. Funny story, someone reached out to me and was like, hey, I'm literally looking to get, drop some fat. I would like to, develop some long, lean muscles. I don't want puffy bodybuilder muscles like you. And I was like, you think I have puffy bodybuilder muscles? Thank you so much. What an honor. I've been trying to have puffy bodybuilder muscles for like a decade. So great compliment. But also, what? Excuse me? What does that even mean? Because I think that people think that big muscles are equated to heavy weights and eating a lot of protein. Lean muscles are equated to eating eating vegetables and salads and doing light weights with high reps. And this is incorrect. Toning is not a real thing. Like in the way that we talk about a toned muscle. You can tone your muscle, but if you're toning your muscle, what it's doing is growing. Your muscles can do 2 things. Number 1, they can grow. Number 2, they can shrink. That's what they can do. That's all they can do. So there's no toning. There's no like tightening up. There's no leaning down. All of those things are accomplished through fat loss. And the reason that people think that like, oh, but so-and-so has such great toned arms or shoulders, whatever, is because that person has low body fat. And so body fat accumulates in a variety of ways. Number one, it accumulates under your skin, subcutaneous. That's where we grab our stomachs. We go, oh, I have so much fat right here. That's okay. You know, like that goes like last in terms of some of your like extensive diets or really getting lean. The next after that, after the subcutaneous fat stores kind of fill up, is you get the visceral fat. That's the fat that goes underneath your skin and your muscles and goes around your organs. After that, you get your organ fat, which is really dangerous, deadly, can really cause a ton of problems, metabolic syndrome, strokes, all bad stuff there. So subcutaneous fat is just the fat that exists between your muscles and the skin. So the less subcutaneous fat you have, the more lean or toned you will appear. So, and the only way to get rid of the subcutaneous fat is to work through getting some of the organ fat out, get some of the visceral fat out, and then the subcutaneous fat is always last. That's why it ends up in those places that we want it to be at the least: your love handles, your lower abs, that sort of thing, because it comes off last. And there's a couple things for that. There's a lot of nuance to it, but in general, that's what happens. So when your muscles are growing, that they are in a state of I was trying to say, of being anabolic. Okay. Anabolic, people think, oh, anabolic steroids. Well, it just means growth. And like if you're growing, you're anabolic. If you're growing muscle, you're anabolic. If you're growing fat, you're also anabolic. Okay. And then muscles can shrink, get smaller instead of being catabolic or catabolism. I didn't know how to pronounce the anabolism. I'm not sure which one's right. But if you are in a diet, if you're losing a lot of weight and you're doing extensive amounts of cardio, this is what happens to a lot of people's muscles. So for example, I was talking to a client for a while who had done this amazing job staying really true to the course of actually bulking for about 2 years. He was crushing it. He was, eating all of his meals, hitting all of his workouts. And then when it came time to start cutting or dieting to reveal the muscle that he was using, he started going into all these different modalities. So you may have done some of them. You may have heard of some of these other, but he started doing extensive, low intensity cardio. He did a lot of high intensity interval training or HIIT training. He had a membership at Orange Theory Fitness. Towards the end, got a Peloton. And then he was also eating super, super low carb, messed around with keto for a little bit. And what he found was that at the end of the 2 years, after building up like all this muscle, when he started dieting down over 6 months or so, he lost a lot of the muscle that he had gained because he was putting his body in a constant state of catabolism, where his body was scavenging from internal sources to take nutrients and apply them to vital processes like his heart, the Krebs cycle, and different things that are very, very important to keep you alive, not just super sweet biceps. So he basically undid a lot of the progress, the meals, the training that he had done because he was so focused on these fat loss exercises. So that's not a trap I want you to fall into. I want you to maintain the muscle that you've built. I want you to get lean without sacrificing that muscle, because muscle is expensive. It's hard to come by. Your body doesn't want to just slap on slabs of muscle for you, especially if you are me. Then your body really hates having muscle, and it will fight you tooth and nail every second to get there. So in order to do so, we need to train really hard, give yourself constant progressive overload, which means you're going from 100 pounds to 105 pounds to 110 pounds every single week, making progress. And you also need to be eating the right calories in order to build your muscle up. And then, and only then, will your body grace you with a little bit of additional muscle tissue. So it's a very difficult process. Fat loss is much easier, much simpler. Not to say it's not still difficult, but building muscle is a lot longer term game than losing fat, especially if you're doing it the right way. So like we said, like just kind of summarize, here's what it's not real. Toning is not real. Getting leaner muscles is not real. Your muscles can grow being anabolic. They can shrink being catabolic, and that's what they can do. So now let's jump into kind of like the idea of, like, most people think, okay, I need to lose weight, so I need to run. And if you're maybe you've been in the gym culture a little bit longer, you understand, you've been around, you've lost weight before, you might think, okay, I don't need to run. I can just do cardio. And that's an interesting place to be, because cardio is not necessarily a fat loss workout. And most of us think running or cardio equals fat loss. Those two things go hand in hand, because a lot of times we talk to people who have started doing cardio and they started seeing good results. They started losing weight. It comes out like, comes really fast. Someone in the group, actually someone named David, was talking about how he's doing cardio every single day, and now he can finally see his abs. But when I asked him a little bit more about stuff, it came out that he was not only doing cardio every single day, but he was also working out 5 times per week. So he's working out for an hour and then doing 30 minutes of cardio on the back end of it. So you hear things like this and you're like, oh, cardio should be the result. But here's what cardio is good for. 2 things mainly. Okay. Neither of them are fat loss. Number 1, cardio is good for burning calories. You can burn a lot of calories running, biking, swimming, ellipticaling, stairs, whatever else. You can burn calories that way. Cardio is also great for increasing your cardiovascular capacity, your endurance. It builds your heart strength. It builds your lung capacity. These things are cheap. These things are cheap. This is I think I talked about this on the last podcast, but cardio is cheap because cardio is a lot like going to an arcade. Every time you want to play Tekken 3, you get Eddie, Horong, Paul, what I'm talking about. You put in the quarter, you select your character and you play, and then you lose and you got to put in another quarter and play again. So every time you want to burn more calories, you have to go for that run. You have to do the biking. You have to do the stairs. Muscle building is more expensive. It's like buying a PS5. It costs more upfront. But then once you want to go burn some calories, you already have all this muscle that's helping you burn calories on a regular basis. Muscle burns more calories than fat, not like insane amounts. But the trick is once you have muscle, doing other things, movement, because someone with 100 pounds of muscle is going to burn more calories on a run than someone with 50 pounds of muscle, all like timing, pace being equal. So putting that muscle to work for you is a much better use of your time. Now here's what weights do. A lot of people think weights, bulky muscles, right? Puffy bodybuilder muscles. By the way, don't say that to people. It's kind of rude. So weights' purpose is to build muscle, build strength, and improve performance. Those are the only things that weight training does. So if your weight training is not building muscle, building strength, or improving your performance, and you're going through HIIT circuits, you're doing a lot of jumps and twisting and just like trying to get out of breath and like leave a sweat angel on the ground, you're missing the bigger picture. You're missing out. Okay. You want to use this as a way of growing, getting better, getting bigger, building, improving your performance, not necessarily as a way of getting smaller, tightening, toning, losing. Okay. That's a lie we've been fed by the mainstream media, by magazine covers, by fucking Gwyneth Paltrow. I'm coming for you, Gwen. So please just don't, like, when you think about your workouts, always know, why am I doing this? You should always be able to answer that question. If you have a trainer, you go to Orange Theory, whoever's telling you what to do should always be able to answer the question, why are we doing this? Why the hell are we doing this exercise? And if your trainer's like, because there was a bench available, you need to fire him, because that's some bullshit. If your trainer should always know what capabilities you're training, what the goal of the exercise is, and why they've selected it for you. Okay. Always, always, always. Because if you're just doing it mindlessly, your chances of getting injured go up. Your chances of getting results go down. So keep in mind, cardio, good for building endurance, good for burning calories, but it's cheap. If you ever like train for a race, run your race, and then stopped for training for 2 weeks, you know that it's cheap, because this next time you go back to run, you were like, didn't I just do 10 miles like last week? And then your body's like, yeah, but that was last week. That's not this week. So it's cheap. It goes fast. It comes back quick-ish, quicker than muscle, but it goes fast. Okay. So here are some things that are kind of get categorized as fat burning workouts that I want to take apart for you guys. Okay. So first and foremost, boot camps. All right, guys, if you've ever been a part of a boot camp, if you've ever think like, I need to lose some weight, I need to get into a boot camp. Most boot camps, and I can't say all of them because I've been to one or two that have been really good, but most boot camps are based on the idea of, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. That's it. And I've been in the industry for now 12 years. I've talked to so many instructors and so many trainers and so many coaches. And the prevailing notion is like, hey, these people come in, it's a group class. I can't customize to everybody. You know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna deliver a sweat fest. I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. So what you've done is you've effectively turned your weights into a cardio workout. So you're really kind of even though it might think like, oh, I'm doing like the best of both worlds, you're not really. You're kind of getting the worst of both worlds, because you're not developing endurance in any like true capacity where you're going to be able to run longer unless you're doing a running boot camp. And you're also not really building your weights up unless you're doing something specific, like even like a body pump where you're increasing weights over time. So you're doing like the worst of both worlds, where you're putting yourself more prone to injury, because as you do more weights, you get more sweaty, more tired, less focused. And then you go back to lift weights or do something and squatting. That's when you're like, oh man, did I tweak my back during boot camp? Yes, you did. You definitely tweaked your back during boot camp. The other thing, HIIT is so popular right now. High intensity interval training. Generally, you think of someone like doing CrossFit. You're talking about HIIT, like one exercise to the other, to the other, to the other, going around, setting timers, hitting the thing beeps, and then like everyone's on the floor and just sweating and dying. So again, it's great for burning a lot of calories. You can burn a shit ton of calories in an hour-long HIIT session. But what qualities are you training? What are you actually getting out of it? Really, in a HIIT class, you are getting some endurance, but not a specific endurance for running, swimming, biking. You are getting some like general endurance, and you're burning calories. Again, like, and if that's all you need to do is just burn some more calories, that's a fine. But there are better, less expensive ways of doing that, and things that don't put your body quite as much at risk. So, like, I'm talking shit about boot camps, HIIT, Peloton, Orange Theory Fitness. If you like those things though, like, and they're working for you, great, stay with them. But just remember to ask the question, why am I doing this? What's the point? Always be asking that question. Don't just walk into it and be like, well, you look like a big muscly guy, I guess I'll just do this shake weight. Like, don't people who are selling stuff in magazines, on infomercials and stuff like that, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm just doing the tug toner, I'm doing the total gym, and they're like giant, ripped, beautiful people. That's not how they got their muscles. That's 100% not how they got their muscles. They got it by doing heavy and hard weight training, and then they're trying to shill off on some piece of crap fitness equipment that they have only used 3 times in their entire life. So just be cautious about these types of things. There's a lot of people trying to sell guru stuff that they shouldn't be. I digress. Peloton. That's like the new hot thing. Peloton's amazing because they made a killing off of selling a stationary bicycle that you can literally go and get at Goodwill, but also then pay monthly to tune into live classes. So they're killing it. Great job for them. But also, like, Peloton is not going to make or break your success. Peloton is a great way to get better at biking and burn some calories. And that's it. That's what it's good for. It's also, a lot of people enjoy it. It's fun. If you like that sort of thing, awesome. But like, enjoyment and all those other things aside, we're talking about like the characteristics that you're training. And with Peloton, you're training endurance and you're burning calories. That's it. Okay. And then the last one, Orange Theory Fitness. I just want to, because when you go to Orange Theory Fitness, they got weights up to 50s. They got some suspension trainers, and they got some treadmills or rowing machines. So basically, again, the goal is beat the shit out of you. You die today. So, and any idiot trainer can do this. I used to be, like, when I first started working as a trainer, I was working at a place called Fitness Works in Gilbert. And I remember like having just such a stupid mentality. I just wanted to make my clients work as hard as possible. And I hurt people. I remember one lady, she came into the gym and she was like just coming back from having a baby. And she was like, oh, I can't wait to get back in shape again. I was in good shape beforehand. I was like, great. You know what that means? I'm going to crush your soul. So I was having her doing step ups, jump lunges, right into some rows, doing these like complicated circuits with no rest. And like, I'd been in the industry for about 6 minutes at this point, thought I knew it all, and just kicked the shit out of this lady. She couldn't come in for any of the other workouts this week. She said she thought she had the flu. Her body hurt so bad after one workout. Stupid. This guy, stupid. The shirt is appropriate. Jerk is what it says on it. I remember another lady who came in and I was like, great, we need to lose some weight. You want to build your booty? So what I'm gonna do is I put a towel on like the hardwood ground, like one of the group fitness classes. I put a weight plate on top of the towel, and I had her push that back and forth across the gym, not knowing that, like, not even realizing that, like, she's already uncomfortable being in the gym, and now I'm making her do something with her butt in the air, like crawling on the ground. And just like, and if you ever pushed a plate or pushed a sled, you know that shit's brutal too. Like, so my goal is always fuck them up, beat them down, and then like see who survives, really. So, and that was terrible. I look back on that with embarrassment, because those were bad workouts. I should have been fired for putting people through those, or maybe just at least a stern talking to. But either way, like that, like, just pushing someone onto a treadmill, onto a rower, back to these, to the TRX, now some rowing, without having any sort of system, rhyme or reason, or progressive overload is not training. That's exercise. And what you're doing with that is you're burning calories and you're building some endurance, and that's it. Okay. Now, if you're starting at the real beginning and you go into an Orange Theory class, like, yes, you're going to build some other like strength capacities, but I'm talking about if you've been in it for a while and you can do more than 10 bodyweight rows, if you can do a bench press with more than 50 pounds, then yeah, you need to change those things up and actually start chasing the characteristics that are going to last a lot longer. The other thing that I have a problem with Orange Theory Fitness is the idea of the orange zone, which is their take on the fat burning zone. And so a lot of people will like phrase this as like, oh, we're in the fat burning zone, so this is a fat burning workout. Boot camps do this, HIIT does this, Peloton does this, OTF does this. A lot of places do this. Oh, we're in the fat burning zone, but that's fake. That's a myth. It's not real. Okay. So real quick, when you're at rest, I mean, like this should be kind of interesting because like when you're at rest, that's when you should be in like the fat burning zone. That's when the highest percentage of your calories are coming from fat. That figure shifts when you start doing movement because your body will start pulling in more carbs to burn those off. So at rest, your fat burn is about 85% of your total calories burned. So when you're burning fat at rest, 85%, 15% from oxygen, carbs. When you go to an easy walking pace, 70% fat burn, 30% carbs and oxygen. Medium effort run, 50% fat, 50% carbs. And then it moves more towards carbs. So it's like starts off fat over here and then shifts as the intensity increases. So like if the key determinant of weight loss was the percentage of fat you're burning, then your best bet would be go lay down because you're burning more fat at rest or higher percentage of fat at rest than you are sprinting hills. So if you're thinking about it that way and you want to be in the fat burning zone, then the fat burning zone is lay on your back and watch some TV. But fat burning percentages is not what matters. Total calories burned is what matters. So like, yes, you burn a higher percentage of fat at rest, but when you're sprinting hills, you're burning way more calories. So even if you're only burning 30% fat, 30% of 1,000 is still a lot more than 85% of 100. And I don't know what the math is because that's hard. But if the idea is that the fat burning zone is a lie because the percentages of fat being burned is not as important as the overall caloric burn. Okay. So when you're doing cardio, just keep that in mind that you don't need to be in the orange zone. You can push the red zone. You're welcome. So, because if you're exercising at a lower intensity, you're going to be burning fewer calories per minute. So like, for example, just a couple numbers out here. So if you walk 2 miles in an hour, that's about 200 calories and you're about, 100 of those are from fat. If you cycle at a medium speed for about that same time for about an hour, you're going to burn about 500 calories with about 250 from fat, 200 from fat. So you're going to burn more calories and more fat. And then also when you're burning those carbohydrates, you're doing what we've talked about before, like the advanced detox strategies. If you've seen that class, you're detoxing your body from glycogen and you're allowing your body to have a reuptake of glycogen when you eat next. Okay. So all that to say, fat burning exercises, the fat burning zone, these are all lies fed to us by people who literally just want to take money out of my pocket. And if you want to give me money, I'm happy to do that. But I would 100% want it to be based on the fact that you are like, you like what I'm saying. And it's because I'm coming from a place of trying to be honest with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear or maybe what other people are saying because it's lucrative for them. I feel like I lose a lot of business from this because I try not to tell things that are completely false or like trying to make something like drinking water super sexy, tell you need to have alkaline water. I don't get a lot of clients off of my consistency posts or podcasts. So, but I'd rather do that and have that like, hey, I'm coming from a place where I do not want to falsely advertise anything. I just hate that so much in the fitness industry. So with all that said, now I've shit on like all the things in fitness. What exercises are best? Okay. So we talked about like muscle building, right? We talked about like other workouts that build muscle and some of my favorite exercises for those in previous podcasts. So but the idea is when you are training for fat loss, literally all you need to do is do the exact same workouts as if you were training for muscle building. Did you get that? if you're training for fat loss, do the same exercises and the same workouts as if you were training for muscle building. Because at the end of the day, what you need to be doing is maintaining the muscle that you've built. We talked about Dave in the beginning here. Dave is recomping his body, but he's doing heavier workouts every single week, improving his performance, doing a little bit faster, a little bit better, a little bit heavier. Okay. And he's actually able to drop fat and build muscle at the same time, which is amazing. That's like the holy grail, the unicorn of fitness goals. So so you have to be building muscle at the same time. Worst case scenario, at the very least, what you'll do is you'll maintain all your muscle as your fat slowly comes off, especially if you're doing a more aggressive diet, if you're doing something like with higher fasting, if you're doing $1 million body, if you're trying to get results in a quicker way, you must be doing muscle building workouts. Okay. And so what exercises are best for muscle building? Well, I'll give you kind of my top few here, but for chest, incline dumbbell bench press. For back, a lat pull down or pull up. For shoulders, I like a lateral shoulder raise or a shoulder press. For abs, an ab wheel rollout. For quads, a front squat or Bulgarian split squat. For glutes, hip thrust or Bulgarian split squat. For calves, calf raises or hill sprints. And then for cardio, hill sprints. So those are my top muscle building exercises. Some of the ones that are going to help you build the muscle the fastest, target the fibers correctly. Obviously, the execution is really important on those. And we can talk about nuances on your incline dumbbell bench press all day long. And I love that kind of stuff, but probably beyond the breadth of this podcast. So, but the goal is to pick exercises that keep you anabolic, keep you building muscle instead of cannibalizing and eating away at muscle tissue that you've spent so much time and energy building. Okay. Because in a deficit, I saw this a lot when my wife was pregnant. We went to the doctor and the doctor's like, "Are you getting enough food?" And she's like, "Yeah." Like, "Oh, like definitely, because I want to like make sure the baby's getting fed." The doctor's like, "Listen, the baby's getting fed. The baby gets his. Don't worry about them. The baby's going to take it from you, from your muscle, from your fat, from your hair. It's going to get its nutrients. It's you I'm worried about." It's the same way with our body. So like if you're in a deficit, if you're losing weight right now, your body's going to take stuff from different places if you're not feeding it the right things, if you're not keeping it in a muscle building zone. And there's a lot more delicious amino acids and nutrients in your bicep than there are in your fat cells. So if you give your body a reason to cannibalize muscle stores, it'll take them. So you have to give them a reason to keep them around. And that's training muscle building exercises and still going heavy, building strength. And heavy doesn't mean 1,000 pounds. Heavy just means whatever is difficult for you. Challenge yourself. Don't leave 10 reps in the tank because you're doing pink dumbbells. Okay. So like we could wrap it up right here and say, hey, stop doing HIIT, Peloton, cardio, all these things, unless your goal is burning more calories and building endurance. Start doing more resistance training. That's the big rocks. Okay. You're going to get more out of it if you get more out of your results if you hit the weight training first. But I wanted to also leave you with one extra bonus piece here, which is my top 2 different types of exercises for burning a significant more portion of fat. And I know I just said no such thing as a fat burning exercise, blah, blah, blah. But here's the situation. And we're still not totally sure on how exactly this works within our bodies. But imagine this. You're out with your caveman friend, and his name is Grog, probably. I don't know what names were like caveman days. So you're out, you guys are like, like just chilling, just walking along. And then all of a sudden, like we're seeing some berries and you guys are like, we're super hungry for berries. Although these berries taste like ass because, they're not GMOs. So you're like, well, I'll still eat them anyways. You guys are eating some berries. And then all of a sudden a saber-toothed tiger pops out of nowhere. It's like, rah. And then you and Grog, you guys are running, sprinting, okay? You're running as fast as you can. There's a log ahead. You jump over it. You Usain Bolt that. I don't think he jumps. Anyways. And then all of a sudden there's a big tree. And so you and Grog both climb up into the tree. You're pulling yourself up and getting out of harm's way from the saber-tooth tigers at the bottom, like clawing at the tree and yowling and making saber-tooth tiger noises. In a situation like that, when you've shifted your body into a sympathetic nervous system dominance, fight or flight, you're running and you're sprinting and you're jumping and you're climbing trees, you're doing a lot of what are called closed chain exercises. Okay. And it might just seem like you're doing like the steeplechase, or hurdles or something like that. But what you're actually doing is you're moving your body through space. Closed chain exercise is just a fancy way of saying you're moving your body through space. So what we've noticed from closed chain exercises, so for example, like a push-up versus a bench press, a pull-up versus a lat pull down, is those exercises tend to burn more calories and they seem to prioritize building more muscle and decreasing fat. And so people have postulated that this is an evolutionary mechanism that humans are gifted that allows us to respond to the predator-prey scenario where we're running away from danger and our bodies are actually responding by giving us more functional tissue to pull ourselves up out of the trees, muscle, and decreasing our non-functional tissue or fat so we have an easier time getting out of harm's way. So your body doesn't know that you're in the middle of a set of pull-ups. It doesn't know there's no saber-tooth tiger. All it knows is stress. So if you give it a high stress reason to change your body, that can be more beneficial for especially recomping, building muscle, and burning fat because your body does not want you to die. It really likes you. So closed chain exercises can help you burn more fat and build more muscle. And we're still not 100% sure exactly why, but that's just what we've seen kind of across the board. So although there are no fat burning exercises, this like a pull-up, weighted push-ups, squats, even a squat with a bar, you're still moving your body through space. That lunges, great options. Single arm rows, stuff on the TRX, moving your body, doing the fallouts, doing the rows, doing the push-ups. All those are great options. Just making sure that you are progressing them over time. The last one is like I said, you and Grog, you're sprinting, right? Hill sprints. Hill sprints are a great way to build muscle, especially when we call it the posterior chain, which is a kind of a cool trainer word for butt and hamstrings, low back. It's all like the back of your body. It's like the not mirror muscles. So if you want to build muscle in your glutes, your hamstrings, and your low back, sprint. If you want to burn fat, especially kind of the harder to get fat, sprint. There's two reasons for that. Number one, it's a closed chain exercise. It just seems to work out better. We're not sure why. Number two, when you sprint, you burn a shit ton of calories. Your heart rate is way up. It's crazy. If you've never done it before, definitely start off by doing it on a hill and start off light. Do 50%, 60%, 70% a couple times, call it a day. Come back 3-4 days later and try it again. Okay. Don't tear your hamstring trying to get in shape. That is the worst. So in summary, today, what we talked about, and if you have questions or anything like that, you can drop them. If you're watching this live, drop them in the chat here and I'll answer them privately, secret. Or send me an email, nate@n8trainingsystems.com if you want to follow up on any of this stuff. So in summary, basically, muscles don't tone. They don't get leaner. They only grow or they shrink. The way we grow them and shrink them is by doing weightlifting workouts. Weightlifting workouts help you build performance. They build muscle and they build strength. All of its growth, all of its building, all of it's getting better. Cardio, the purpose is to build your endurance and to burn calories. Okay. So if that's what you're after, great. And a lot of times people like they think, well, I started doing cardio and it started working. Well, you were probably eating too much and you needed an extra 300, 500 calories of cardio burn in order to like normalize your eating patterns. Because if you're eating here and your like effort, your output is below that, then you're never going to lose weight no matter what exercises you're doing. But if you go up to here like this with your effort through even adding in a couple of minutes of cardio after a workout, you're going to get better results. So cardio can help, but just realize that it's not the cardio that's magic. It's the calorie burn that's magic. The heart rate, like the fat burning zone, the orange zone is a lie. Fat burning workouts, boot camps, HIIT, Peloton, Orange Theory Fitness, generally not that great for burning fat. What is good is making sure that you are building muscle and continuing to keep that muscle up while you do the correct nutrition. And if you have questions on nutrition, just drop me an emoji down here. I'd be happy to help out. I love helping high performers, entrepreneurs dial this in so they can actually focus on the important things in their life. And then in order to reap the benefits here, what you want to be doing is doing closed chain exercises. Every single workout should have a closed chain exercise as a part of it. And then adding in some sort of hill sprint, airdyne bike sprint, row sprint, things like that to trick your body into releasing more fat, building more lean tissue to prevent you from dying, keep you safe. So with that, I'm gonna wrap it up, guys. Thank you so much for joining us here on the podcast. If you want to check out more, if you want more, go to Amazon and check out the $1 Million Body book, which was released in February. And it has a lot of information that's on the stuff we did not cover today, primarily your nutrition, your day-to-day, your habits, your morning routines, etc. So grab that, pick that up, leave me a review. And then I am so excited because if you leave me a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, it just allows us to have access to better guests and bring on more cool people onto the show. So leave us a review there. Those things really matter for small businesses. So I really appreciate it. Have an amazing day, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. And if you want to see more of these and you're not already part of the group, go to the link in my bio or n8trainingsystems.com/group to join in. Talk to you very soon. Have an amazing week.